Well, let's bring in Omar Turbi. He was an advisor to the transitional government that ruled Libya after Muammar Gaddafi was overthrown back in 2011. He joins us live now from Washington, D.C. Omar, I want to start with Al-Mangoush. We're hearing from our sources that she's now in Turkey. She's paid a very high price for the call that she made in Italy. In your mind, was it an accident, poor judgment, or is there something deeper going on here?
First of all, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be on Al-Jazeera. It's been a while. A little correction, I think Minister Al-Mangoush, or former Minister Al-Mangoush, is in London, not in Turkey. She went through Turkey because she is a British citizen. She's not a U.S. citizen, but she is a British citizen. So she is in London. I think it's a sad situation, not only for her, because she is the scapegoat, but for Libyans in general. I think it's about time to call for Beiba to leave. And I believe he has been preparing for his departure, from what I know, through some very reliable sources in Tripoli, that has been packing. And this move on his part, I think, is trying and a gasp to prolong his stay in power. So I believe he takes the fall. He's squarely responsible for that. And this thing began basically not only in January of this year in his meeting with the director of the CIA, Mr. William Burns, believe it or not. Beiba had meetings in Jordan with the head of the Mossad several months before that and continued to do that on a frequency. And I can stand behind that he has done that. I believe his meeting with the director of the CIA early January this year, he initiated the normalization of relationship between Libya and Israel. And I believe William Burns might have been caught a little bit not by surprise, but he knew the meetings, and I'm sure he was aware of Beiba's meetings with the Mossad. But I don't know if this has been, I would say, a large, specific, concrete policy, foreign policy of the United States, because the United States should and have better sense than trying to normalize a relationship between Libya and Israel at a country that is dysfunctional, does not have institutions that are functioning. So that's really, I mean, I can say that Beiba needs to go, and he knows that he's been under pressure in the last couple of weeks.
Just wanting to unpack a little bit of what you've said there, because the government in Tripoli has taken a very hard red line on this. You're suggesting that there's not much unity then when it comes to Israel. There are obviously lots of interests at stake here.
The Beiba government in Tripoli is trying to make Al-Mangoush as the person who initiated this and went and had the meeting, which is actually false, makes no sense. And Beiba is trying to prolong his stay in government by blaming her. She can't escape from the blame because she's not a dumb person. She should have seen the writing on the wall. She should have seen the problem that could bring up. So yes, it is squarely the blame on Beiba, and I think it's about time for him to pack and leave. And before the demonstrations will increase. From what I understand, I think there are going to be more and more demonstrations.
Sure, and we have seen very public demonstrations around this. I want to ask you a little about the Tobruk administration, because we know that Haftar's son, he met with the Israelis a couple of years back. How different has their approach been to Israel?
Did you say the Barak administration?
The Tobruk administration, the other side of Libya.
Oh, you're talking about the parliament?
I'm talking about Haftar and his son. They've had contact with the Israelis, and I'm wondering how differently they're approaching the whole situation.
You know, I don't condone whatsoever what Haftar has done or said. In fact, you are correct. I think there's been some pronouncements from Haftar that he would normalize and he would do something. I don't really have any specific quotes, specific dates, but that's terrible, and that's actually a not right. And the unfortunate thing amongst Libyans, whether it be Haftar or Beiba, they think the path to staying in power or winning the presidency in Libya is through the Israeli lobby in Washington to please them. And believe it or not, even Burns himself, the director of the CIA, is probably not, he doesn't have his full heart behind this approach. He's a smart man. He doesn't see any viable institutions in Libya that can carry on any normalization as the Egyptians have done, or the UAE has done, or behind the scenes the Saudis are doing. But they're always, they always carry a message. The lobby in Washington, as we know it, I've faced it and dealt with it for over 40 years. Sometimes they take advantage of someone in office and say, hey, would you please see if you can find a way to bring our beloved Israel to be in normal relationships with Libya. Let's not forget that the Libyan Jewish community in Italy has been very active as well.
Mm-hmm.
They've been pushing to regain their homes and places in Libya. They've had many contacts and visits in Libya to try to come back to Libya. And there's nothing wrong with that. They're Libyans. And, as long as their loyalty to the national interest of Libya, national security interest of Libya, I think they're welcome. And there shouldn't be any problem for them to come back to Libya, whether to live or do business. Mm-hmm. But the important thing is that they need to have loyalty to only one nation, not two nations.
And clearly there are a lot of political calculations being made at the moment. Omar Terbi, they're an advisor to the transitional government in Libya after Gaddafi was overthrown in 2011. Thank you for joining us again on Al Jazeera, sir. Great to get your thoughts.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you.